Hey guys, Ryan from Spyker Workshop, and I have a new product I've been working on. It's a bass fishing boat, 1/10 scale, same scale as my pontoon boats that I also sell. And this bass boat's still a work in progress. There's still a few things I need to tweak, but it's pretty much working. So you can see it has the carpet interior, just like most fishing boats do. The console has interior lighting. There's also a side light, and very similar to the pontoon boat console. And then the chairs are a little different than the pontoon ones. They actually have a removable base, so just like the real bass boats, you can rearrange the seating. And then inside of the deck compartments, I have it, none of these doors actually function, but the whole panel itself comes out. And there'll be magnets that you can use to keep it down. And there's a seal here you can grease to keep the water out, which I didn't do yet. That's why there's a little water on the inside here. But there's a channel that runs through here under the deck that runs to the back box. And in the back here is where I have the speed controller and receiver. And then there's a pass-through channel here that you can put grease in. Runs out to our outboard motors. So we make the outboards also. I have a couple other videos on the pontoon stuff if you're more interested in more details on those. But they come with many different propellers, different pitches and stuff, and you can run them brushed or brushless. So in this one I got a 35 turn, and I didn't install it on this, but you can also install a servo that will trim the motor. That's more for scale though, because the thrust of the motor, if you have a really high performance motor, actually overpowers that. So it's kind of an optional scale feature. But then also the steering servo is built into the head of the motor. So when it steers, it's basically all contained in one unit. So if you have a boat you'd like to put our motors on, very easy. Just mount it to a flat transom on the back, and all it needs is power and a servo cable going to it. So there's also a functional mast light. The wiring is actually hidden underneath the fabric paneling. And the way I have this whole thing laid out is the hull, or the whole boat's resin 3D printed. And the hull has watertight compartments. They're not exactly watertight, but they're channels that funnel any water that gets in here to the back. And I will be putting a small pump in here, because the boat runs really good, but it's the scale way it's set up. Water does come up over the top a little bit, and it needs to have some way to drain it out. So I'm going to design like some floor drains where it all leads down to a small pump in the back. So the deck paneling is separate pieces that you can easily wrap with fabric. You can see how I have the seams coming on the inside. And then it's designed to have all the seams hidden, and pretty easy assembly. So our pontoon boats that we make, we sell them in kit form, where you have to sand and paint and do pretty much all the work, but you get raw resin prints. And then we also sell them ready to run, which are a lot more expensive just because it takes me so long to do all that. It's quite a big job. But if you guys are familiar with any other scale model boats, you know, there's a lot of work that goes into sanding. The main thing is just sanding and filling. They're really easy kits though, so I have really nice instruction manuals for these. So this one here, it's a 16-foot deck. In the scale 1/10 here, the deck's I think the whole boat's roughly 24 inches. And the bass boat is very similar sized, just a lot less height and width. But what's cool on the pontoon boats is, depending on the length you want, I offer 16, 20, and 24 foot. And I also do pontoon or tri-toon. On my website you can configure like all the exact options. There's quite a lot that you can customize on these things. Same with the actual furniture layout. Like on this particular model, underneath the seat cushions here is where the battery is stored. And I actually run a small battery on just the pontoon version, because these just have the 2 pontoons. Doesn't have quite as much buoyancy because the model itself is pretty heavy. So the motors are identical on these, and you can see how much faster the bass boat is, just because the pontoon has so much drag. But that's, you know, pontoons aren't meant to go fast, so that's how it is on the full-size ones too. But yeah, like I mentioned, check out my other videos. I have other pontoon videos, and stay tuned for when this new bass boat comes out. So thanks for watching.